Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I promise there'll be no. I won't mute myself today. It's sort of that camera. It's a bit weird, and not be muting myself today because there's no B-roll that I need to take care of. So let's hope we can do it in one take. Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Let's play the intro. That's it. Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. I do like that intro. I like that little music. And do you know what? I can't even remember where I got it from. I got it from a website years ago. But anyway, there is a bit of good news for Celtic this morning. And people think that there's one deal that's done and dusted and that we've maybe forgotten about. But Celtic FC, this has just been released on Twitter by Saka. Celtic FC have not forgotten Michael and Belusha. Several internal factors on the part of the Scottish club management have slowed down the deal. Both Green and Whites and the player are keen to see it through. Royal Antwerp are asking for $6 million. Now, it will be the fact that yesterday was a sad day for Celtic Football Club, losing one of our esteemed players, legends and man that has been around the club for a long time. And when that happens, rightly so, you down tools. You down tools and you pay respect to the man, because let's face it, it's what he deserves. And at times like that, it's when Celtic becomes Celtic. And over the years, can think back to Tommy Burns' funeral. Do you know, when Celtic really just focus on what matters, there's nothing else matters. But anyway, move on. Celtic will ramp up the transfer activities this week? We've been linked with Michael Ange for a long time. We've also been linked with a French player, a French midfield player, Moussa, and I've not got the picture of Moussa up in great form, because is that the Moussa one? No, that's that one. Give it 2 seconds. We'll get the Moussa one up for you. Celtic have been linked with a midfield player, which is a bit strange because he plays in the same position as Callum McGregor does, Moussa, but he also plays in another position. He plays, let me just do this. And we'll just do this. We'll get him in there, giving us the thumbs up. Is old Moussa. Are Celtic about to get this guy, Moussa number 2, in the door at Celtic? To give you a little background about him, he can play the central midfield role. He can play the defensive midfield role. But he can also play as a right winger. What completely bizarre positional play. Reminds you of a bit like Callum McGregor, doesn't it? He used to play on the wing, and then he can play the defensive midfield position and the sort of the attacking side of it. But anyway, interesting one. He is valued at roughly around about just over £2 million, and he is French national, coming out of Mali, and he's playing in, I believe it's the Austrian league or something, isn't it? Anyway, it's the versatility that I think that appeals to Brendan. He's 24-year-old. He's scored some goals and some assists last year. He's previously played in Serie C in Italy. But according to African Foot, he's wanted by Celtic. It's looking like it's going to be an interesting summer. I did say that. It does look like it's going to be an interesting one. With, I mean, that position, the holding midfield position, we let go a fantastic player to go down to Birmingham. We let him go down to Birmingham, and he was brilliant. But he couldn't get a game in front of Callum McGregor. So maybe Brendan Rodgers is bringing him in for his versatility, that we can play him on the wing, knowing the fact that we're about to lose Nico Kuhn. It seems to be a big bit of a squad revamp even though it wasn't really needed. And when you think back to what Brendan Rodgers said toward the end of last season, you know, there's a time scale on players and managers at Celtic. There is a time scale that happens. It's a shelf life, isn't it? You call it a shelf life. Players naturally come to the end of their shelf life due to the fact that they're a valuable asset and they can be sold on. Or, in the likes of Greg Taylor, you could come to the end of your shelf life because you didn't sign a new contract, and Celtic were that incapable of getting an adequate replacement for you over the years that they allowed Greg Taylor to run down his contract and walk out the door for absolutely nada. But it's going to be an interesting week. Celtic obviously took some time off yesterday after posting about the legend that is John Clark, and he's still he got to a fantastic age, 84, and it's you know, and it's getting hard, you know. So anyway, there's no bench strong enough for our qualities. John says he watched the video of this guy, this Moussa, and he looks good. Do you know what? We've looked at videos of certain players over the years and they've been fantastic. If you look at videos of Louis Palma online, they look amazing. If you look at Louis Palma's Instagram, the team behind Louis Palma posts videos on his Instagram that make him look like a world beater. So always take with a pinch of salt these videos online that show how good a player is, because they pick out certain moments in the game, and it's generally over several games. It could be absolutely rubbish for 90 minutes, and in the 91st minute he produces a bit of magic. Do you know, that's not what you really need at Celtic, is it? Is we need somebody that can produce it all the time. But square sausage, Vic, you've got a filthy mind. So anyway, other than that, it's a case of a waiting game. When will Celtic start announcing some of these transfers that are sitting in the pipeline? Obviously, there's the whole Benji one that was announced by Fabrizio Romano, which is weird. Do you know, usually he announces it, the transfer guru, and then the club announce it shortly afterwards. But not when it comes to Celtic. And then there's the whole, I'm going to call him Donny Osmond at this rate. And then there's the young Fulham player who was in Celtic Park last week, apparently, sealing the deal, but all had his tumbleweed. Obviously, Celtic knew that John Clark had passed away before the announcement yesterday by Celtic, and that would have paid to any of the good news stories, because Celtic wouldn't want to belittle the memory of such a Celtic icon by taking away well, it's a matter of respect, isn't it? And a matter of mourning. So let's all hope today is the day that we start pumping out some of these deals. Well, even though the deals are done, but it's good news coming in from, obviously, where is it? Not this one. This guy that Celtic haven't forgotten. Now that's just been put out on Twitter in the last half hour. When was it? 15 minutes ago, 14 minutes ago. He put this out on Twitter. Celtic have not forgotten about Michael, and several internal factors on the part of the Scottish club's management have slowed down the deal. Internal parts. It's obviously, it has to be what happened yesterday. We're just focusing on other things and doing the utmost that they can, Celtic, as they always do when a former player passes. It's a case of, you know, we focus on taking care of the family, and everything that goes along with that. So, in other Celtic headlines, we're still waiting on the announcements of several players. I think it's unbelievable that Greg Taylor still hasn't. I mean, he's a free agent. It makes it look like Greg Taylor's shit. Is he? Or is he going to end up at Celtic? Is he going to end up... Jesus. Do you think Hatate is off? He doesn't play the same position as Hatate, does he? He doesn't really play the same position as Hatate. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting week. I still think that Celtic are going to have a bigger than normal turnaround than what we maybe expected. I mean, Brendan Rodgers said towards the end of last season, he said, look, we maybe need 3-4 players to make us better. But I think all eyes will be on the Celtic website come the end of the month. Come next Monday. Or wait till the 1st of July. Because on the 1st of July, players that are no longer on the wage bill will surely be taken off the Celtic website. So that will give us the true indication of the size of the squad and really what's going on. You'll see how many of the B team players have been released. I still think that the B teams are almost going to get decimated this summer. Hence the reason that we're buying some players in. But anyway, the big dates are obviously, we have on the 4th of July, we've got our first pre-season game, which is coming up for just under a week away. The exact time until that game is 10 days, 10 hours and 38 minutes as of this video is live. 10 days, 10 hours and 38 minutes until Celtic kick off the first game against Queen's Park, which will all lead up to the fun and games on the 3rd of August, a 4:30 kick-off on the Sunday. And you can still buy hospitality tickets for that game. Will Brendan Rodgers get as many players as he can in before Wednesday the 16th of July? And will Celtic move out players before? Obviously, yesterday there was the big talk about Nico Kuhn leaving Celtic. Celtic will obviously be dealing with that behind the scenes. So, still good. Really? A new deal with Celtic? There's still a chance. There's still a chance, someone's saying. Tell Greg's dad if he wants an interview. Tell him to come on here. Tell him to interview. We'll interview him. Yeah, there's one for us. There's an exclusive. Hit me up on Facebook. I'm in a good mood since it was San Juan today. St. John's. Yes. Happy St. John's Day. Happy St. John's Day, everyone. I always think of Uncle John on days like this. And if he's not on Facebook, get him to hit me up on that if he wants to do an interview talking about what's the chances of Greg Taylor doing a new deal. In fact, get Greg Taylor to jump on. We'll do an interview with Greg Taylor about his time at Celtic over the years and what was his highs and lows. Let's ramp up the channel. But as a current transfer market, Balwishka has played the bulk of his games. We're on the number 10. St. John Clark, yeah. Never thought of that. Never thought of that. Never thought of that. And San Juan. It's always a fantastic night here. Balushka is a Jota style winger that can cut inside. Get Greg's brother Ali on. He's always chatty. I'd love to do. Could you imagine doing an interview with Ali Johnson? You would just be like, right, Ali, here's the mic. Yeah, you would just sit like this. So, just when you're done, just give me the nod and. No, you couldn't sit with your feet up. That's disrespectful. Anyway, let me just see. Let's go. Morning to you, Quinny. How are you today? Quinny's in the house. He's a legend. Quinny's a legend of the online stuff. Anyway, will Celtic make moves into the transfer? Of course they're going to make moves. I think it is just the waiting game, and obviously the fact that Celtic would have more than likely got the information over the weekend that John Clark had passed away. There then comes into play the whole, right, we take care of the funeral, we take care of the funeral costs, we do this. There's a thing that comes into motion, and Celtic down tools with everything else. Any contract negotiations, anything like that. Hence the reason that this guy's put out the Twitter saying internal factors with the management. But anyway, it is interesting. You've got a funny feeling that by the time that the majority of the players start coming back into pre-season training, which is this week, there's going to be just a roller coaster of information coming out of Celtic. One with like I said, look at the Celtic website come the end of this month, because once the players that are out of contract have been completely released, we know that they're released already, but when you go into the website just now, you've still got Greg Taylor, you've still got John Loney. It's no, that's the wrong bit. Press the wrong button. I mean, we've still got Jeffrey Sloop on the Celtic website, and he was a loan player. There's no chance that if Jeffrey Sloop gets signed by Celtic, we're all fucked. I'm just telling it as it is. As his greatest player he is, he's 32. He's past it for a Celtic. Do you know? He's never done anything. But Brendan Rodgers could use his utility side of it, and if they do, fuck it, don't. Touch wood everywhere. So yeah, Greg Taylor's still on there, Jeffrey Sloop's still on there. Will Nico Kuhn be on there as of this week? Well, he's still on there just now. So, and then there'll be players that'll be loaned out. So I expect Johnny Kenny to come off that. And then there's players that aren't even on it that we've signed yet. There's the thing, because Ross isn't even on it yet. That's a weird one, isn't it? I think they are just waiting to the end of the month, and then there's going to be a complete clear out. It'll be like delete. Computer says no, you're no longer a Celtic player. Delete. But the one player that has been taken off, which is unbelievable, because he's already signed for another club, obviously, is Scott Bain. Scott Bain's no longer on the website, but his replacement, and young Ross, 27-year-old keeper, hasn't been put into place. Maybe they're just going to go, right, we're just going to overload them with information. It's like we're all sitting there on edge, and it's like, fucking come on, Celtic, sign. It's like the Tommy Burns moment on the pitch. We're all sitting like this, waiting and praying, wait for the good news, and then Celtic's just going to go, poof, 3 signings in one day, just to get it all out the road. And then they'll go, right, media, fuck off, leave us alone, we're not telling you nothing. Brendan wants to work with the players. We're going to Portugal, no fuckers allowed into the game, no media is allowed anywhere near it. Do one. And then Celtic will start releasing information themselves. What was that accent about Baz Posh? Oh Lorna, you don't believe how posh I can get. Trust me, the missus always talks about it. She's like, do you know, you've totally went down into your council lad accent and voice. No income tax, no VAT, no money back. Oh Jesus, it's just going to be, it is one of those funny mornings where obviously everyone connected to Celtic are still coming to terms with the loss of an absolutely fantastic player, but at the same time we are sitting waiting on information coming out of, no, it's my old Edinburgh accent, square sausage Mick. I used to have, when I had the business back home, obviously when you talk to people from Edinburgh, and you can't talk to them with a fucking Fife accent, due to the fact that they'd be like, "Hey, who the fuck's this scumbag?" Do you know what I mean? And then your real accent comes out when you're in the middle of conversation to these posh people in Edinburgh. And it's like, fuck, he's council lad. But anyway, we do move on. And Greg Taylor, Jeffrey Sloop's still there. Yeah, they are still there. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers. But I think what the one for me to look out for is the Celtic B team, because there are a number of B team players that are out of contract. towards the end of next week. I mean, Daniel Cummins is still there. Joey Dawson's still there. He's gone. Joey Dawson's gone. And there's another few that are out of contracts that's came through to the B team isn't to what Brendan Rodgers would expect, and he said it's going to take a couple of years before that conveyor belt of players picks back up again. You've got to trust the manager. But do you trust the manager that's only got 1 year left on his contract? It'll be interesting to see once the media ball starts rolling again, who is the first, who will be. Never hide your Pfeiffer, Baz. Nah, I don't. Boss Baz, most likely for that Fife accent. Worked in the Heart of Edinburgh for years. They're up their own arses over there. Yeah, Monty, they are. They are. But it's all about having the ability to be able to speak to people. I mean, I used to deal with directors of companies. You can't really go in with your council lad, your council estate. Do you know what I mean? I'm a son of a coal miner, man. Do you know what I mean? Morning side. I'm not fit morning side. Oh man, Jesus. But you've got to, when you go in and you're talking to like guys that run multi-million-pound companies, you're not going in with your wee. I've not got a Fife accent anyway. Fife accent is nothing worse, man. It's all Ken and Jesus. I don't even understand Fifers. Sometimes I go home and I talk and we're going on a total rant here. That's black hat time, isn't it? Sometimes I go home and I talk to some of my family and I'm like, oh my God, thank fuck I got out of Fife. You all really still talk like that. Ken, fit and oh Jesus. Anyway, it could be Boss, it could be Aberdonian. That's talking about bad accents. It's not a lover's accent, is it? It's not. Anyway, it was San Juan last night. Brilliant. Listen to someone from Fife's exhausts me. Thanks, Michelle. Good morning, Paul. Jesus, it's going to be one of those mornings, I believe. But anyway, we should play a game. How many players do you think that Celtic are going to sign? Right, that's it. Right, let's take control of the narrative. Let's stop the hilarity this morning. It is that lull moment in the sort of transfer market with Celtic coming back into playing, coming back into training, and it needs subtitles with some folk. I need subtitles with some of the things that people write. Anyway, tell me in the comment how many players do a poll. I don't really think it's a poll. We'll do a poll for it. 2 seconds. Let's go 4. Let's go 5. And I think that this is going to be an interesting one. 7. There we go. This is going to be interesting because how many players do you think that Celtic will bring in this summer? Now think about the whole squad. Don't just think about first team. Don't just think about first team players and players that are leaving and replacement players. Think about the squad in total, because there's a big overhaul going on behind the scenes at Celtic that we're not privy to. Let's face it, we're not privy to. No one is, and anyone that suggests that they are privy to information that is between Brendan Rodgers, John Kennedy, and the backroom staff is talking shite, because speculation all comes from outside sources that are close to the players that are potentially coming to Celtic. Now, Celtic get linked with 20, 30 players a summer, every single summer. If you just go through all the speculation videos on YouTube, you're going to have 3 teams out there. I do think, though, that after Brendan Rodgers saying last summer, Brendan Rodgers said, look, you're all getting all overexcited about the number of players that we've brought in and how slow we're bringing in players. And then Brendan Rodgers made a cheeky comment last summer. He said, well, we could bring in 9, thinking back to the summer before, when they brought in 9 players that he didn't really know a lot about. There was a lot of players brought in because they needed the turnover as staff. I think that this summer is going to be one of those summers that you need a change. People become too comfortable. When you look back to the beginning of last season, I said it during, I think it was around about between October and December last season. There's too many players in the team that were comfortable, and they knew if they got dropped to the bench, they'd be back on at the 60-minute mark. Kyogo Furiashi, Rio Hatate, Adam Ida, and there were players that weren't playing at the top of their game, but they knew that they were guaranteed first team position. And I think that that's part of the reason that you've got younger players that have decided, look, my future's not with Celtic. If these players that are playing absolutely garbage on a week to week basis can get game time, and I'm on fire in the B League, and you're going to go, well, it's the B team. Come on, it's all about levels. But if they're not getting the opportunity, they're just going to go, fuck it, I'm not signing for Celtic. So Brendan Rodgers then has a different issue altogether, and I think that there is going to be a big turnover of players, bigger than what you expect. That's all I'm saying. I think that, with the players that have been linked, and the fact that this guy's confirming that we're still in for the old Ange, I think there could be, I'm going to say, between 7 and 8 players will come in, and this will be first team squad players. I'm not talking about the young lad that's came in for the B team, the guy that we brought in for Morton. I'm talking about first team squad players. This is guys that are going to be knocking on the door, and then people will say, well, I think there's going to be quite a lot of the B team players that's going to be released. I think you're going to look at, I think there could be anything up to 5. Monte, I don't think that there's going to be many project players coming in. It will be players that Brendan Rodgers believes can push this first team forward. I don't think that there's going to be too many projects. What do you class as a project player these days? We need to get this mindset. We've got a mindset that it's project players. Matt O'Reilly was a project player. You could say Kyogo was a project player, Japanese player, unheard of. Rio Hatate, project player, unheard of, couple of £1 million. Dyson Maeda, non-European player, project player, never heard of. Turns out to be a fantastic player. But you need to get out the mindset of what is. Do you think that Osman will get a chance? Yes, because he'll be third choice striker. And I believe that. I think, look back to what Brendan Rodgers did last season, and given so many of the players that were on the periphery of the first team their chance against Falkirk. Always go back, look to what Brendan's done in the past, look to what Brendan has said in the past, and that's where you can take your comparison. Last summer he was pissed off with the transfer activity and how slow it was, and in the Tour of America he reiterated that. I mean, there was one interview he lost the rag almost, and he said, go and ask Nicholson and Mackay, because I've been on the phone to them yesterday, the first time I've spoke to them in 2 weeks, and it's like, go and ask them. Stop asking me what's happening with transfers. I've gave them the list. I've given them the list. So we buy to develop and to sell players back. Yeah, we do. But does that mean that every single player is a project player? I think there's a mindset that we have as Celtic fans that, we were kind of spoiled a few years back. I mean, we're talking 20 odd years ago now. I mean, you can even go further back than that. When you bring in the likes of Paul Lambert to the club, who won a Champions League. When you bring in, I'd even say Craig Burley. Do you know, was Craig Burley a project player? No, he was a fantastic player with Scotland and had half a set of teeth. Do you know, Celtic are always and never going to change the business model that we have. It is about, and listen, the whole of the football world looks at Celtic and goes, do you know what? It is one of the better run clubs in world football. We can't all be a Barcelona and completely knock down our stadium and go and play at Hampden. We've done that before. We can't completely knock it down, rebuild the whole thing. We can't knock down the main stand because there's no appetite by the board to do that. Do you know, Barcelona, their way of increasing their revenue was to build a 105,000 seater stadium. They're like, well, how are we going to get out of this debt? We've kind of went as far as we can with sponsorship. Do you know, we've hit a ceiling. We're not managing to push the ceiling with sponsorship. So the only way to do it is bums on seats. people say that Celtic need to do that. But anyway, Baz, if you find the time, watch this morning's 20-minute Thames. I'm going out right after the live, but I'll try and do it this afternoon. I don't get time to watch a lot of YouTube, believe it or not, because you're doing more research than anything. KT isn't. The main stand is all about sunlight for the pitch. Yeah, I do get that, but when you look at other stadiums in the Northern Hemisphere that are around about as north as what Celtic Park is, we're no different to a lot of stadiums in Holland and Sweden. Okay, Sweden's maybe a bad one because they don't really have, I mean, they've got like 20,000 seater stadiums, which are quite low. But I mean, there's stadiums in Germany that are about as north as what Celtic Park is, and that will get the same level of sunlight. I don't know. But anyway, the polls had 84 votes on it. Let's see if we can get that to 85. How many players do you think Celtic will bring in this summer? Will it be one? No, will it be four? 4. 31% said 4. The second option is 5. 41% will go for 5 players. I'd like go and give me your thinking behind 5 players, because we've brought in Tierney, we've brought in Ross, we're bringing in Benji, we're bringing in Rosen. But it's definitely 4 new players. There's going to be more than 4 new players. There's absolutely going to be more than 4 new players. It's froze on me. Yep, it had froze. I don't know why it froze. Gremlins. Quinny's just hacked us. So we'll blame Quinny. He's just hacked us and froze the account. He's like, oh fuck this. I'm joking, mate. Celtic go as much space they need the Celtic way to build. 6%. Roughly around 7 new players. I think that we could edge towards the 8 first team squad players. I think that it could be towards the 8. I'm talking squad players. I'm not talking about first team starts. I think that when you look back to the Scottish Cup final, the bench was terrible. The bench was absolutely woeful, wasn't it? There was no inspiring. Do you know, the fact that Jota was out injured, there was nothing at all. There he is, laughing his head off. I went for 8, said Stephen Johnson. I'd say 6.5 players. 6.5? 8 first team starts, says Mo. I just think that I really do have a funny feeling that Brendan Rodgers has went to the board as Iran try to block the WhatsApp buzz. There'll be Iran. I'm telling you, it's Quinny. He's like, this fucker's getting too big for his boots. Look at this. Fuck this. Done. I'm joking, mate. You know that. But anyway, Michelle says, Kilmarnock announcing new signings has been tremendous. Can't lie. Social media team need a pair of eyes. I've not even looked at Kilmarnock, to be fair. Why would I? Depends on the outgoings. Martin, we've spoke about the outgoings. The outgoings is going to go through the roof, and you look at all the players that were out on loan, right? When you look at the players that are out on loan, Stephen Welsh wants out of the building to play football. Kwon, he's never been at Celtic for about 3 years. Lewis Palmer, surplus to the requirements, we can't sell him. Gustav Lagerbielke wants out of the building. And then there's the Marco Tilio situation. Marco, remember him? That's 5 players. That's 5 players that would be champing on the door. And then you look at all the other B team players: Adam Montgomery, Ben Summers, Matthew Anderson, young Toby, young Lenny. You know, it's all players that are. Hang on a minute. There's a couple of goalkeepers that were on loan disappeared from the B team. Ooh. Because we had three young keepers out on loan, and they've gone. Let me check the B team. They've just disappeared. That's such a Celtic way, isn't it? Oh, there they are. They're on the B team, but yeah, young Toby, Joe Morrison, and Josh Clark I mean, that's 3 young goalkeepers from the B team that are out on loan. I mean, Josh Clark's about to be pulling his hair out, the fact that we've just brought back Ross. But anyway, I think there's going to be a bigger turnover than what we think. But who do I, and what do I know? Nothing. And anybody that claims that they do know are talking absolute wash, man. How many players do you think we're going to end that poll? I've been on for 35 minutes. It's way longer than what I should have. What's going on with the camera? A bit hazy, isn't it? It's just that screen. Right, let's finish the poll. 108 votes, not too shabby for Tuesday morning. It's a bank holiday here today. Ross is evidently the future Baz. I don't think so, Brown Warrior. He's only given a 3-year contract. Everyone else that's been brought in has been brought in on 5-year contracts. All outfield players. How much is it going to cost to pay all these guys' wages, Baz? Well, we've got about 16 players out on loan. Once you get all them off the wage bill, it frees up. Celtic will go in. Celtic will come out the transfer window financially in a better place than we entered it. It always happens. The sale of Nico Kuhn for 15 million plus, that will. I mean, look at the amount of money that we've spent so far, and then you look at the money that they've brought in already. We've brought in a good bit of money already, and look at the money that we're still to bring in. How long a contract did Tillio get? He got a 5-year contract as well when he signed. Not counting Kieran. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this morning. I will be back on later this afternoon when Celtic hopefully break some news. Some good news for us. Anyway, have an absolutely fantastic day. Celtic fans, wherever you are, I need to go for a shave. No shave this morning, apologies. My dad will be going mental. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.